Hello everybody, it's Dana Sullivan, your Stampin' Chick, here with another Make It Monday! How are you today, my friends? I hope you had a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Thank you all so much for being here with me today. I have a fabulous little project to share with you, and I know you're just going to love it, especially this right here. It's so exciting. So, this is part of the Peony Garden suite, and I'm so excited that I can finally show you the inside of the catalog. Isn't that great? The catalog is officially live. So if you do not have a demonstrator already, I would love to be your demonstrator and send you this beautiful catalog. If you are one of my customers already and you haven't received a catalog yet, please comment or send me a message and let me know so that I can get one sent out to you, okay? So, this project is part of the Peony Garden Suite, as I mentioned, and you can see here and right here that Stampin' Up! Has done this absolutely gorgeous semi 3D flower that is so pretty. It's so much fun to put together, and I wanted to share it with you today because the prized peony bundle, including those 17 dies, there are a lot of them in here, so let me show them to you. These first few, they're really easy to identify how they work. They simply outline the actual stamped images, and they make perfect sense, you know. So and then this one is this piece, which I have out because I've used it. So these ones are really easy, and then these as well. These are the leaves, so those make total and complete sense. Now these ones are a little bit more challenging. This is a border die with embossing, which is absolutely beautiful, and you can see it right here in the edge of my little banner. It's so pretty. I love it. The texture is beautiful. The design is just perfect. It's so pretty. Alright, and then you have these 3 sets of alien looking life form. And these are actually leaves. So the solid pieces here, these 3, are the solid leaf background, and then these funny looking zigzaggy pieces line up over the top of each of these leaves, just like so, and they make an accent piece. So as you can see right here and here, my leaf is a lighter color, and then I have this little highlighted piece that's a little bit darker. So that's really cool. I love when they do stuff like this because it makes texture so much easier in our projects. Okay, now the really alien looking parts. So we have what looks like a flower base here, and I'm not sure what that looks like piece, and then these 2 pieces that are completely unidentifiable. But if you take each of these 4 pieces and you point them all the same direction, you'll notice that they all have similarities. So if you look, that one lines up perfectly with this one, right? And then it also lines up perfectly with that one. That's crazy, right? One more time, it lines up also perfectly with that one. Now what that means for you is Stampin' Up! Has made it really easy to make the layers for the Peony Flower. As you can see here, I'm going to show you how to make the flower, so don't worry. But they all line up along this edge right here. So it makes it perfect to line it up. It's super simple and easy, okay? So let me put these back in here so I don't lose them. And we'll get right to it so that you can see how easy this flower is to make, okay? Alright, so now I've already pre-cut my pieces. Whoops, let me get my stamps in there. And let me get this out of the way for a minute. Alright, now I've done a little cheat sheet for you, and this is going to be on today's blog post as well. So you can head over there and take a look at it, and save it if you want to, or print it out, or whatever. So here are those little leaves and their highlight pieces, or low light in this case. And this, of course, is the flower center. And then you have the 4 petal sections or flower sections, okay, the body of the flower. And like I mentioned, there's that section where they all go together and line up on the same edge, right? Okay, so this is what you need to make your own peony flower. Now, of course, peonies come in all sorts of different colors, so you could die cut these from any colors that you'd like, or you can do some sponging on them to create some color, or even use watercolor, which would be absolutely beautiful as well. So as you can see from my card today, I decided to do some sponging beforehand and then pieced it all together. But I'm going to show you in this video another way of adding some color, okay? So let's go ahead and get started coloring, or putting together rather, this peony flower, alright? So let me set that off to the side and bring in my flower pieces. And I wanted to show you how I've come to this epiphany, I guess, of how to put it together. If you look at this flower, you can see the shapes breaking it down. So I don't know if I can get in very close, but I'm looking at the decorative edges and trying to find matches. So I already know right off that this piece is obviously the outer body, right? And then this piece matches with this. So I know that's going to layer there. And then this piece has the deeper groove, which is right there. So I know that one goes next, and then it leaves this piece left over. So it's going to stack like this. Now, this breaks down really easy if you go from the smallest to the largest, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just tuck this piece into this piece. And we'll flip this over, and you can see those lines and see how they line up perfectly, right? Do you see that? And then when I flip it over, here is my flower starting to take shape. Okay, and then I'm going to do the exact same thing again with this section. And I'm going to flip it over and line up that line on the bottom. Now my flower is really coming together, isn't it? And it was super simple and easy. Alright, and then one more. This is the outer piece. And now you can really see the lines on this one. So we're just going to line it up. And we'll flip it over. And we're going to line it up with that edge. Just like so. And there's our peony flower. Wasn't that easy? And then of course you need your little centerpiece, so you would take that and you're just gonna tuck it down in there. And you can have it stick out a little or tuck it in, however you want to. And then I've already colored and assembled 2 of my leaves, but I did save one of them out so I can show you how I get all of this texture. And these are just gonna go right underneath like that. Super, super simple and easy, okay? Alright, so let me pull this part out, and let me pull these out again, because I'll show you how I colored it. And I'm also gonna show you how I colored this one. Alright, so what I did is I've taken my sponge dauber that already has a little bit of ink on it, and I've just really worked it in to a piece of old olive cardstock. So right now I'm doing a tone-on-tone look, and like I said, I'm really working it in. There we go. And I don't mind at all having the different textures, different shades and depth in here. There's a bit darker in here, there's a bit lighter in here, and I want that. I want it to be a little bit different because it's a leaf. It's not meant to be uniform. Alright, now I'm going to take my liquid glue and very carefully apply just a little bit of glue to the back side of this little funny looking piece, and then it will line up with the edge of the leaf just like so. Alright, so there you go. And as I said, I've already done these other two. So you'll want to do all three of the leaves for your one flower. And now let's go ahead and bring my handy dandy scrap paper back and petal pink ink and sponge dauber. And the way that I colored this one is what I'm going to show you now. But you could use a little bit of watercolor and just kind of touch to it. You know what? Let's try that. Since you already see what it looks like sponged on, why don't I go ahead and grab my watercolor pen. Let's see here. Alright, now I'm actually going to use alcohol because this is regular cardstock and not the thick Whisper White and not watercolor. So I'm going to use the alcohol marker, that way it doesn't get too rich and saturated, and it won't buckle my paper much. Okay, so I'm going to just make this really light and runny. I don't want a lot of color, and I'm just gonna add it around the edges of my peony here, right? There we go. And then we'll set that off to the side. And we don't need to worry too much about the bottoms of these pieces because they're all being tucked in to that one section. Notice that I'm not really doing any kind of a deliberate thing. I'm not putting a whole lot of color on. I'm just swirling it around the edges of the flower panels and then along that little seam, because that shows through right on the flower itself. So let me ink it up just a little bit more here, and I want to do just a little more on this one, I think. So I'll come along here and do that. There we go. All right. Now then, I'll set this off to the side for just a second, let it dry, and we'll go ahead and assemble our card, and then we will come back to it. It'll be ready to go, okay? Alright, so I have used a piece of gray granite cardstock measuring 8.5 by 5.5 and scored at 4 1/4. And this is, of course, my card base. And then I have a piece of 4 1/8 by 5 3/8 designer series paper, and this is from the Peony Garden designer series paper, and we'll layer that on just like so. And then I have a piece of Whisper White cardstock that measures 5 1/4 by 4 inches, and this is going to be our inside panel. And of course, you know, I always say no naked insides and no naked envelopes, so we're going to put a little something something on there. And then I'm using one of these beautiful new doilies, and they're called square vellum doilies. They come in a package of 24, and they're super pretty. This is part of the Peony Garden suite. So if you were to purchase the entire suite for $97.50, there's one item number here that you can use to get the whole thing, and you would get the prized peony bundle, which is the Stampin die set. You would get the square vellum doilies, you'd get the designer series paper, you'd get the elegant faceted gems, which we're also going to use, the Dainty Diamonds 3D embossing folder, which is just absolutely beautiful, and the silver shimmer ribbon, or the gray granite shimmer ribbon, oh my goodness, that we're also going to be using. So notice that I've used some of everything except the 3D embossing folder on this particular card. So the suite is absolutely beautiful, and you're going to be able to create so many really cool things with it. Alright, so let me start by grabbing my ribbon, and I'm going to go ahead and tie a piece off around it, and I want to make that really cute bow, so I'm just going to wrap it around here, and try to tie a bow semi-live, which is always a lot of fun. Here we go. Do you struggle with making bows? Sometimes I do, but I practice a lot, and it definitely does get easier with practice. There we go. Alright, so now I've got my bow, and I can go ahead and cut my ribbon here. There we go. Now, let's see. I'll go ahead and adhere this on. So, snail adhesive has retired officially as of the 3rd of June. And we have this new Stampin' Seal adhesive, which is really cool. It's actually a little bit stronger than snail. And it's super easy to add to your projects. As you can see, I'm having no troubles at all getting it to attach to my designer series paper, and it's really sturdy. This stuff is really tacky and nice. It's got some fabulous staying power, and we love it when it has the staying power and it's super easy to use. So it's a win-win-win all the way around. Now, the Stampin' Seal is $1 more than the snail was. However, you get like 15 yards more of adhesive. So dollar for dollar, it's well worth it, and actually a better value even than the snail was. So, alright, now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put that little square doily on here. And in order to do that, because it's so lacy and dainty, I'm actually just going to run a few strips of adhesive directly onto the designer series paper, And I'm not going to worry about it coming through the doily because this beautiful banner is going to cover it up. So I just know I want it to be about here. And then I'll take my doily and I'm going to kind of eyeball this somewhere in the vicinity of there. And that looks like maybe I need to pull it just a little bit. As you can see, that seal adhesive is pretty strong. There we go. There we go, that's good. All right, now I'm gonna take some basic gray ink and this beautiful sentiment, your sweet friendship refreshes the soul. Isn't that great? I love it. Okay, and I'm just gonna line this up towards the bottom of the card panel here, the banner. That's what I meant to say. There we go. All right, and I'll give that just a second. And I'm gonna put this on dimensionals, so let me grab those. And I'm not gonna worry about putting dimensionals down here on that bottom. I'm gonna leave it kind of loose and just put them right about there. There we go. Alrighty. I am really excited about the Peony Garden Suite. I haven't had a whole lot of opportunity to play with it much yet, but what I have been able to work with, I've really enjoyed it. It is so pretty. I love the colors and the design, and of course I kind of have a biased opinion, a partialness. I'm quite partial to, there we go, I'm quite partial to peonies because my Sprudy, my great granny, she always had peonies in her yard, and then my grandmother also had peonies in her yard, and it's always just kind of been one of those flowers that really reminds me of my grandmother and my great-grandmother, and both incredibly special women to me. So when I saw the Peony Garden Suite, I knew without a doubt that I absolutely had to have it. And I have not been disappointed yet. It is just absolutely gorgeous. Alright, now I'm going to take some of the Petal Pink ink and that really beautiful, smaller, these are all distinctive stamps as well, which is beautiful. You know, that means that it's got the shadowing and the highlights all in one stamp. And I'm just going to give it a nice light press, and then I'm going to put it right in the corner. And that's going to be the inside of my card. Put that out of the way. And I've also already done my envelope. So as you know, no naked insides, no naked envelopes. And I've just done the same thing here as I've done on the inside. So it ties the two together. That stuff is really nice. I have been really enjoying that Stampin' seal. Very cool stuff. And there's a Stampin' Seal Plus, which is like the strength of the old Fast Fuse, but without the hassle, headache, and frustration of having to check mark it off of your paper. It comes off like a dream. It's absolutely fabulous. Alright, so now we've got this done, and it really is time to get our flower made, and it looks like it's pretty well dry as well. So notice that it's got some really nice, soft, light coloring to it. So I'll lay out my pieces. Remember, it goes largest to smallest. So if you forget which order it goes into, just remember largest to smallest or smallest to largest as we're going to assemble it ourselves, okay? And then I'm using glue dots because I find that that's the easiest thing to do. And I'm just going to put a glue dot on each end of the bottom piece. And I'm going to push it through the space here without... Oops, I put it on the wrong side. Don't mind me. It needs to go on the front, not the back. How else is it going to attach? Okay. Alright. I was thinking, why is that sticking to it? It didn't do that to me before. Well, it's because I glued it to the wrong side. So that's okay. Alright. Here we go. Now we're going to bring it down and we're going to align it with that edge. And see, we've already started here. And now we'll glue this to the front of the next piece. And we'll stick it through this groove. And then flip it over so that we can line it up with that same edge. There we go, just like that. And see, it's absolutely beautiful. And then we'll do the exact same thing again with the front of this layer. And line it up. And press it down. There we go. And now we have our beautiful peony flower. It is light and soft and beautiful. I absolutely love it. Of course, you could go back again if you wanted to and touch up some of those spots if you want. In fact, you know, I think it would be really pretty to bring in the sponge dauber and just add some little spots along the edge here. There we go. Now, I don't know if you can tell, but I'm really not pushing too hard. I'm just lightly pressing. There we go. I'm just giving it a little bit more color, just a little, along the edges. Really soft and pretty. You know the peony I'm talking about. It's a really beautiful flower. Here we go. And I'll go ahead and add a little outline to this side. There we go. Oh, that's beautiful. I love it. There we go. Oh, that's beautiful. Isn't that gorgeous? Oh, I love it. Okay. Now we've got one last thing to add to the flower itself. And all I'm going to do is take a little liquid glue to the front side of our little stamen here. So just a little liquid glue right there on the bottom. And I will push it through right there. I want it out just a little bit. There we go. There, just like so. Perfect. Okay, now I'm also going to use a glue dot and attach to the front of each of my leaves as well. But before I do, I want to take them and just kind of grab my stylus tool here, and I'm going to kind of roll it around here right in the middle just to give it a little curve. And this is just going to help me out because I'm going to fold it a tiny bit, just enough to give it some texture. Okay, there we go. You see it's already started to curl a little bit here. You want to give a nice firm even pressure, but don't push so hard that you tear up your paper. You know, that wouldn't be good. And then I'm kind of crinkling it a little bit. It is a-okay to crinkle your paper. I want it to have a little rustic type texture to it, a little shabby chic going on. Alright, and now I can take my glue dots and just put 1, 2, and 3. Uh-oh, I pulled that one off a little too fast, so that's okay. Let me grab another one here. There we go. Alright, now I want to put something like this. Okay, so I'm just going to hold it over it like that, and you see it's not attached yet. I could maneuver these around a little more if I wanted to, but I really like that. I think that's beautiful. So we'll just go like that and tack it down, and then we can give it some oomph when we get a hold of it. Alright, here we go. Now, all I'm going to do is put some seal across the back of my peony, and I'm just doing it kind of right here in this one little section, just right here. Okay, so I'm thinking about this area, and I'll tuck that leaf just a little bit, and I want to make sure that my peony is gonna fit on my card. At this point I could maneuver my leaves a little bit if I need to, and I need that one actually to go a little bit farther in, so we'll just do that. There we go, just like that. Alright, now of course we've got to embellish it because why not? And that bling bling is super pretty. So we've got some clear facets, petal pink facets, and this is a white shimmery, which is super pretty. I'm actually going to use the pink facets on this one, I think, because I used the clear facets on this one, and I thought they were super pretty. So let's just see what the pink facets look like. Alright, I knew I need my take your pick tool. Y'all know how much I love using my take your pick, and I swear by it. So let me grab my pokey spot. Get the pokey tool. There we go. Makes it a lot easier. Oh yeah, that's beautiful. Oh my goodness, yes. Alright, so we'll do one there and one there. Alright guys, there you have it. What do you think, huh? Isn't it beautiful? Now you can see the difference in this peony versus this peony. With this one, I used the stylus tool and I roughed up along the edges and gave it a really nice distressed, shabby look. As you can see, it's a very rustic and realistic looking peony. And then this one, I didn't do that. You saw me do this one. I just added the color around the edges and then stuck it together. So there was no distressing to this one at all, which by itself is still absolutely beautiful. But of course, when you compare them, I like the texture a whole lot. So I love this one. Alright, so there you have it, friends. Now you know how to put that beautiful 3D peony together. I hope you've enjoyed today's video and tutorial instructions and this beautiful card. So if you'd like to purchase the Peony Garden Suite, of course, you can visit my website, danasullivan.stampinup.net, and check out my blog, stampinchicktn.blogspot.com, and you will find that fabulous chart where you can make sure that you have everything that you need for your peony, and you can find the information for this particular project and other projects and ideas as well. So I hope that you'll stop by. Thank you so much for watching, my friends. I hope you have a fabulous day. Until next time, bye for now.